everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful but ever cooler Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast. I'm Dan Beecher.
And filling in for Frank, I'm Kate Birch.
And hey, Kate.
Hi.
Hello.
Poor Frank is so sick this week.
He's very sick. And guess what? It's not COVID. I didn't give him COVID. It's not my fault. No one can blame me.
It's in the air right now. It's like the holiday spirit.
So,
Something.
the holiday spirit is disease and illness.
It is. It attacked my family this week. It attacked last week.
Yeah.
You, everybody I know is sick.
Yeah, it turns out, though, no one that I was in contact with, I didn't give this shit to anybody.
I don't know how you got it.
I don't know how.
It's so bizarre.
I didn't go anywhere that other people didn't come with me.
I know.
So, like, wherever I got it from, someone must have been there with me,
Yeah.
but they didn't get it then.
It could have
And then
been.
I didn't transmit it
Yeah.
to anybody. There were plenty of people in my immediate vicinity, like, who would have been exposed.
Yeah.
Apparently, just my body wanted it.
I think that all of us just had better immune systems than you. Your
Maybe.
immune system just like it got rid of all of its antibodies. It was like, what do
Maybe.
we need these for?
Here's what's funny is that there was a time in my life where if you had said that to me, I would have been offended.
Yeah.
Like somehow having a better immune system made me a better man or
Well,
a stronger
yeah,
human or
yeah.
whatever. I'm past that now.
I think it's just your body's not a pack rat. It was like, do we really need these antibodies?
These antibodies?
I'm done with these. Like, it just isn't a hoarder.
Yeah. I did hear Fauci actually talking about how it looks like antibodies from the vaccine, antibodies in general for this particular virus go down. And so boosters are...
Oh, I think in Utah can sign up for our boosters tomorrow. I'm pretty sure. And I am going to sign up tomorrow morning because I do not want to have what you had. I want to just, even though I have heard you can sometimes, feel shitty for a few days with the booster. I'm okay with that.
Get boosted, everybody.
gonna get
All right,
boosted.
let's do some stories.
Some stories. I'm going to start us off with the first story, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
So, well, I first want to start by asking this question. It has to do with this story, but do you think, and maybe you guys have covered this before, but like, are religious people on the whole more dishonest than non-religious people? Or is it just that like, I read these articles and I think like, God, how is it that you can like, be this like a head of a church and be so morally corrupt in every way? It's astounding to me.
I don't know.
Anyway, so this is the story that I'm going to talk to you about right now takes place in New Orleans.
Okay.
And the Archdiocese there. So after Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005, FEMA comes in and people can apply to have coverage, for repairing and rebuilding.
Like damage from the storm.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Because, the whole city was just ruined.
Yeah.
But so...
You can't even go there anymore. It's not worth it.
Yeah, stay away. When are we going to go? Okay. Anyway, so the Archdiocese of New Orleans filed for help like, many other places did. And it's legal because I guess the money wouldn't be used to like proselytize. It's used to rebuild.
Yeah, I remember there being controversy
Yeah.
over giving it to churches, which it's just one of those things where kind of every organization got hit. And
Yeah.
it was just
And
like
that's fair.
they're just rebuilding.
I think, you don't want things being derelict. You want things to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
But the caveat would be don't lie about it and cheat the government out of money, which is exactly what they did. So apparently they were approved for like $184 million worth of stuff, but
Holy shit.
which a lot of that was like real damage
Right.
that needed to be fixed.
That's not a small sum.
No, well, it's covering, hundreds of churches within this diocese, which I had to have you look up for me because I wasn't sure how big I wasn't sure even what an archdiocese was.
Right.
But apparently let's see, we looked it up because I had you look that up for me, but it was like, 107 different parishes are within that. So it can kind of give you a bigger scope.
And that doesn't even include schools and other things that are also run by the archdiocese.
Right.
So, yeah.
But of that $184 million, they have, the Department of Justice has, I don't know if they were sued or if they just came to this agreement because they realized that they'd lied, but they have to pay back $1 million of it. There was some air conditioner that they said was ruined that didn't even exist. They just kind of, they falsified.
So they literally, it wasn't just like they overestimated. They were literally coming up with specific things.
No, they lied. Like it wasn't like, they weren't like, well, that coffee table was really worth $150 when it was only worth $100. No, they would make up things.
Things that didn't actually exist, and they're like, we need to repair it. Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot. And so apparently there was a man who worked for a architecture firm that was preparing, like helping them file for the stuff, who saw that they were lying, and he blew the whistle on them. And
there you go.
Yep. So
fucking liars. It's
crazy.
Yeah. And they're giving back.
At least they're giving back $1 million.
$1 million sounds like a lot of money until you hear that it's 180 million that they got total.
184. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. But when I go visit, I would like to see things not derelict.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Liars.
Well, I'm going to take us to another mildly Catholic region that you might have heard of called Italy.
Oh, I
I
have heard of it.
The land of Italy, the country that contains within it
another country,
the tiny country of the Vatican, where Catholicism lives. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Being Catholic it's not just de facto in Italy. You are Catholic. You are Catholic until
proven guilty.
That's right. You are presumed Catholic until proven guilty. And so it is a big. It's just what you are.
Is it like cultural? Is it just like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like part of the culture.
Right.
Spaghetti and Catholicism.
Yeah. But mostly Catholicism.
Okay.
Like more Catholicism than spaghetti is my guess.
Wow.
Not pasta in general, but spaghetti.
But spaghetti. All right.
Anyway, here's the thing. Quite a few people are not just... Here's the thing. Most people, if you stop being Catholic, you just shut up.
Right.
You just don't say anything.
I thought most Catholics were that.
A lot of them are.
Okay.
But it is becoming a thing in Italy.
Yeah.
Elsewhere too, but in Italy, to literally get what they call debaptized.
Oh, wow. How does that work?
Which is just leaving the church, but officially leaving the church. So what we're talking about is people literally going in. I know it sounds... I'm
like imagining some like video played backwards where they're like being pulled out of the water. I don't know.
Vacuum moisture off of your head.
Exactly.
Something like that. No, this is what we're talking about is people literally writing in to their parish where they were baptized and saying, I am leaving this church.
So it's like when people from the Mormon church want to write their whatever letter. Resignation
yeah,
letter.
Exactly. They are resigning from the Catholic Church. Well, it is a big deal there. Not unlike being, resigning from Mormonism here or, leaving, it may be different, but when it's different in like the South where everybody's Christian, but like everybody's a member of a different Christian church.
Right. It's not one thing.
It's not monolithic the way Catholicism there is or Mormonism here is.
Yeah.
It is where it's like everybody's a part of exactly the same system. It is a top-down system. It is controlled by a central organization. And it's the same organization.
Right.
So it's happening enough that there's a group called the Union of Rationalist Atheists and Agnostics. In Italian, it's abbreviated UAAR.
I want to hear you say it in Italian.
They don't have it listed, the name of it in Italian.
Well, if Frank was here.
If Frank was here, he could probably come up with the words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't speak Italian.
But you can't. It sounds pretty when the words come out.
Anyway, so there are some dioceses that do they're under no obligation to report to anybody. But some dioceses are keeping track. The Diocese of Brescia, which is east of Milan. They came out with a newspaper, a diocesan newspaper, in August that said that they were comparing 2021 to 2020. In 2020, 27 people from that diocese
resigned,
debaptized. 75 in 2021.
Wow. Well, 2020 was a year of reckoning.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
It kind of, I'm sure people were like, why the fuck am I still part of this church?
Yeah.
And they made it a goal in 2021.
But again, leaving, not believing the religion anymore is one thing, but officially leaving is a different thing, and it means something different. And I encourage people to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody has to do it. I think there are consequences to it that some people aren't willing to deal with or shouldn't deal with, and that's totally fine. But a lot of people, it would be very good for them.
Yeah.
Psychologically, as well as just sort of, as well as not being counted.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do it psychologically, but resigning from the Mormon church, it did feel a little cathartic.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted them not to be able to count me. And
my kids and I always joke because we still haven't sent in our resignation letters. And we just always joke that if there's an apocalypse, we want them to feed us.
I'll just
probably not a good enough reason to stay on our rolls.
Storm the welfare square. Anyway, so that's happening. They estimate the UAAR estimates that more than 100,000 people have done it in Italy.
That's impressive.
So yeah, go Italians.
Woo, woo.
Get out.
How do we cheer in Italian?
Forza!
Forza!
That means,
I don't know if I did
means
that
strength,
correctly.
but no, that was good.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think who Forza.
Italiano. I don't know.
Ateo.
Ateo.
That means atheist.
You guys, I'm sorry. I probably just butchered so many people's language there.
No, you did great.
I tried.
I butchered, and then you followed suit. It's good. Okay, what do you got?
Okay. This story is horrifying to me, but it's like a car crash that I'm watching. It's just terrible. And it has to do with the abortion issue in Texas, which, we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah, currently illegal.
Yes.
As it stands.
Yeah.
Basically, for all intents and purposes, it is currently illegal to get an abortion.
And they
in
haven't
Texas.
gotten a stay on anything.
Well, they got a stay, and then the stay was taken away.
Yeah. So anyway. But so this is the consequences of that are that there are, now there's going to be thousands of women who are going to, unless they can find a way to travel outside of the state, which a lot of people don't have the means to do, or the support or anything, are going to be forced to have babies that they did not want to have.
Right.
So this story is about this woman in Texas who has this epiphany about she's driving along and she has this amazing epiphany about how that she can change the world of these women, these pregnant women, by starting this haven, which is a maternity ranch.
Okay, wait. Before you go anywhere with this.
Okay.
I smell reality TV.
Oh my God. Yes, seriously. That could be an amazing
maternity
ranch.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. So the woman who came up with this idea, her name is Aubrey Schlackman. And so it's her brainchild, this idea for a maternity ranch. And she just thought that she was going to basically save all these women from this. They were going to have the horrible fate of having an abortion. And now they can both come to God and raise their children under her watchful care.
Wait, they have to raise the kids there too?
Well, so basically her idea was that they would have this ranch, which basically like single women could come stay in a cottage. And if they were married, there could be like a place, like a house for couples to come stay at. And they'd get to stay there for the whole first year of the baby's life.
Wow.
And there would be a barn where they would come have communal meals and everybody would go to Bible study together. And wouldn't this just be this idyllic situation for these women?
You know what? Here, I'm going to say something that might sound controversial, which is I'm fine with this existing like that. Like on paper, this could be a nice thing for a few people.
Yeah, I'm betting like 25 people might want to do this.
But also on paper, is this story from 1822?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, these women have already made a decision, a very important decision, that it is not right for them to have a baby. So yes, we already know that there's not enough support for women regardless. We know that that there isn't health care for them. We know that, I mean, like there's these, like there isn't comprehensive sex education. There isn't good contraception. There isn't like, there's so much that we don't support women in like before the whole pregnancy, you know?
Right.
So it's like, yes, giving them a nice place and taking care of them for a year sounds really lovely. I'm sure that the whole Bible study thing wouldn't be held entirely over their heads and forced down their throats to be compliant, to be able to have to stay there.
Oh, no, they would definitely do that.
No, yeah. I know. So
I was just thinking, like, women don't need to be sent away anymore.
No,
because they're pregnant.
Totally.
Like there was the era where if a woman got pregnant before her marriage, she was sent away, and you know, for a year, and they would say that she was going off to whatever school, and then you know the baby would
come
be
back and
given to her Aunt Sue,
right?
And then she would come back and pretend like it never happened.
But the thought that these women don't already have full-on lives that they could like leave to go live on a ranch. These people have jobs and they have careers and they have families and they have children that are in school and they have this complex life that can't just be uprooted, plopped down in your ranch.
You know, and again, there may be some women for whom that would be useful. Guess what? There may be some. I support the idea of a ranch that you can just pick up and go to.
That sounds
and get
nice.
some help. Like if your life goes to shit for any reason, somebody should have a ranch where you can just go and like maybe work the ranch and like get away. Like you don't. Okay, life in the city didn't work for you.
Here's a ranch.
Like I'm fine with that. I think that's great. I don't like the idea of the Christian. Blah, blah, blah.
Do you like the idea of being raped and then going and staying at a ranch where you're then forced to have the rapist's baby and then live with it for a year?
No. Obviously, I'm 100% supportive of the idea of abortion. The first thing is women need to have access to abortion. But there are plenty of women who, they want to have the baby, but they don't feel like they have the support to have the baby.
Right. But that's never, I don't think that's ever really the issue with abortion. If somebody really wants to keep the baby, then yes, we should be supporting those people in that decision. That's not the point. The point is this woman's body is not a host for a year. You know, you can't just use her to regardless of what ranch you put her on.
Right. And the funny thing about the ranch is that these women aren't going to the quote unquote ranch to help with the livestock.
They are the livestock.
They are the cows.
Oh, I know. Believe me, that is not overlooked in my mind. I just think it's crazy. And so this whole framework of Christians thinking that they're being, so generous to give these women a place to stay with their babies when they are literally the ones that came up with the idea to strip women of their freedom to begin with. Right. But then they're just being so generous.
Yeah, and this woman thinks that she's solving this problem.
Yeah.
No. You're creating a thing that might even be okay. You know what I mean? If there is a Christian woman who needs support to get her child, a year of support, or a year and 40 weeks of support to get her to launch her life with her family.
I guarantee you there are already women out there that need that.
Great.
I guarantee you.
Great. Support them.
Support them.
I'm 100% on board with that.
There are mothers.
You have solved nothing.
Yeah.
You've solved one little thing, and that segment of society, great. Okay, go with God. But you have not solved the abortion issue.
No.
Nor have you come close. All right.
Anyway.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Texas is a shithole country. It should be its own country. Can we let them secede already? All right, fine. I'm gonna. So local hero. I use that term very, very lightly. Dallin Oaks, who is, if he survives longer than the current president of the Mormon Church, the current prophet, seer, and revelator.
Oh, is he not the prophet right now?
No.
Which one is he?
Russell Nelson's the prophet.
Russell Nelson.
Rusty Nelson's the prophet right now. If Dallin Oaks outlives Rusty,
then he will be.
He'll be the next prophet.
Okay.
Big deal in the Mormon Church.
I've definitely heard his name on terrible speeches before.
He has given his fair share of genuinely terrible speeches. He's been a big deal in Utah for a long time.
I feel like, is he really homophobic? Is he like one of the super homophobic ones?
I
mean, maybe they all are.
Crazy homophobic.
Yeah. I feel like he's the one that stands out to me.
So super, super hateful. At one point in a speech in 2019, so we're not talking a long time ago, he said, lesbian, gay, and transgender lifestyles and values, blah, blah, blah. He's saying that they're an example of a culture of evil and personal wickedness in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. His career before being important guy in
the church,
in a pretend in a cult. His career led him to a lot of different places. One of those places was that he was president of Brigham Young University.
Oh, okay.
For a while, from like 71 to 80 to I guess it was just to 80.
Well, it's a chunk of time. It's almost a decade. Yeah.
Almost a decade. And in that time, he was very outspoken against the LGBTQ community. That was a good time to be against LGBTQ. It wasn't anywhere near as.
I mean, it was in the zeitgeist wasn't it?
It was totally okay then.
It was
never okay, but it was socially accepted.
It was like. That was like where all your jokes came from, you know?
Yeah.
Not a good time to be alive.
Don't watch movies from that era.
Nope.
Anywho, in that time, BYU, of course, being a religious school, engaged in a lot of very questionable stuff, especially with the LGBTQ.
Like discrimination and stuff, or what?
Like also ways to help their students who might be experiencing same-sex attraction.
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't even have that language for it then. This was up to and fully including electroshock aversion therapy.
Through the school?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, they were doing experiments with all this stuff. They had started a whole conversion therapy program down there, and they put a bunch of young men, they tortured them.
Yeah.
This is literally Clockwork Orange stuff.
Yeah.
This is literally, they would force these men to look at pictures of naked men.
And then shock them or something.
And then if they got aroused, they would get electric shocks.
Oh, goodness.
In increasing
high intensity.
So it turns out that's just torture of a human. It's not an effective therapy, but it is, and if it is literally torture, and it broke men.
Yeah, and I'm sure they have PTSD and have
Yeah, real gross.
Yeah.
So Dallin Oaks this week gave a talk at the University of Virginia Law School. Hosted some sort of
like
panel discussion about quote unquote religious liberty, which, by the way, as we've said many times, religious liberty in the United States is just code for how much can I discriminate against gay people.
Oh, totally.
That's what those words mean now.
Yeah.
In the context of this time in the United States, that's the liberty that they're looking for. That and how much can I endanger everybody else by not taking medicine or by not taking vaccines.
And limit women's rights.
And women's rights.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like those.
We've got like a trifecta.
That's what it means. So he gave this long speech and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, at the end, someone asked him about the
conversion therapy.
The electroshock therapy. And he lied through his teeth.
No.
Fucking just flat out denied it. He said,
really?
He didn't deny that it ever happened. But he said it never happened while he was there. Well, nope.
Oh.
That is absolutely not the case. He was there at the height of it. It was happening right under his.
And
right
I'm
under
sure
him.
he was probably directing it too.
1,000%. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't respond for comment either from me or actual real sources who actually reached out to him for comment. But yeah, when asked point blank at this event, he just said, no, it didn't happen. He said, quote, "When I became president of BYU, that had been discontinued earlier, you fucking liar."
What the hell? And he doesn't have any consequence for that lie.
No. And here's the thing. And Frank and I have talked about this plenty. The Mormon church changes their policies all the time.
Yeah.
Never apologize. If they change a policy that was a hateful, hurtful, demonically evil policy, and they change it for the right reason, which is that they realize that they're hurting people.
Yeah.
They never go back and say we were wrong. We apologize.
But I'm just talking even about the lie itself. Like, can a news outlet report like one of the leaders of the Mormon church is a liar, and then they show the records of it or something?
They did.
Did they report that he lied?
The Salt Lake Tribune, yeah, they reported.
Oh, good.
They reported. They didn't say he's a liar. They just quoted experts who were like, "Yes,
no, it was very
yes,
much.
it was happening at that time."
Oh, I wish they had like something in writing of his showing that he knew.
Yeah. Anyway, he knew.
Oh, gross. See, this is what I'm saying. Morally corrupt. The people in religion, I swear they're so much more morally corrupt in ways they know. He knows that he shouldn't lie.
I don't know that they're more corrupt, but their corruption is far more galling considering the hypocrisy. The fact that they preach honesty, that they talk nonstop.
Yeah, it's the hypocrisy.
It's the hypocrisy.
It's just disgusting.
So I don't know if they lie more than other people, but it's worse when they do.
But now I just had an idea for a fun movie, and that is, no, this is horrible, but I was just thinking a movie where somebody kidnaps what's his name?
Leader?
What was that guy's name?
Dallin Oaks.
And then they do like conversion therapy on him, but for religion. Wouldn't that be fun? That could be a fun movie.
All right.
It's dark. Sorry. Somebody do that.
Somebody make that movie, apparently.
I would watch it.
It's the new Squid Game. It's the next Squid Game. All right, everybody. Well, this is going to be a short episode. I had planned a short episode with Frank because he was not feeling well, and then he was feeling so not well that he couldn't actually do the show. So we're going to do a short episode. Forgive us. We're not going to do email. We're not going to thank our donors yet. So if you've been waiting because we didn't do it last week, please forgive. We'll get to you next week. I promise you, unless somebody else gets sick. But you're still loved and appreciated. But we appreciate you so much. And thanks for all the well wishes. People wrote in and were very, very sweet. So thanks to all of you who wrote in, and sent me well wishes. Now send them to Frank. Send them to Frank. Do send you your nude pictures because he will be horrified. Nobody sent me any nudes. How rude! No. That's totally fine. But I think Frank needs to be horrified. So send him your nude pictures. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com is the number to write in, and then please also feel free to leave us a voicemail. By next week, we'll actually listen to it. So that's 424-666-8442. And we'll be back to have our segment at the end.
Yeah.
Well, Kate.
Yes.
So here's what I wanted to talk about. There was a really interesting article in Religion News, the religion news service, this week about architects and designing churches.
That's interesting. My daughter is becoming an architect.
She is indeed.
Yes.
She is currently in architecture school, getting a master's degree.
Yes, and actually, I have another daughter who's also in architecture school. So I'm going to have two of them.
Oh,
I'm going to have them build all sorts of churches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's money in it. That's for damn sure.
And my son's building furniture for churches.
That's
oh my
true.
God, we're going to support all the churches.
Just get them out. Get them out. Here's the thing about architecture for worship places.
Okay.
It can be wonderful.
Oh, it's some of my favorite architecture on the planet.
I have been to some, like, there's the Cathedral of Notre Dame, which you can't go into now, I don't think yet.
No, but we got to.
We got to.
It's been a while since I've been there. But
yeah, I don't remember a lot. We haven't been there together.
No, not
yet.
together.
But, I mean, gorgeous.
Yes.
Just those sweeping high Gothic ceilings.
And those windows, it's just magnificent.
It's stunning. And, I've also been to the Lotus Temple in Delhi. That's that is actually nice on the outside and dumb on the inside.
Oh.
And I've been to, there's lots of different ways to do worship centers. For my money, the best places, Frank and I went to a place in Arkansas that's a little chapel in the woods, but has this really gorgeous crisscross timber structure with glass all in it. It's mostly glass, and it is stunning. And I think that if you're building a place of worship, the best thing you can do is inspire awe.
Yes.
A thing which the Mormons never learn.
No, this is true. In fact, I remember once having a conversation with you about this, and we were talking about architecture with high vaulted ceilings. And I remember saying, I think there's a physiological thing that happens to you when you go into a building like a Notre Dame, where it's a very vast high ceilings and you tip your head back and you open your chest up. And I think that there's a physiological awe that happens to you when you have that shape of your body,
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something amazing about it. And there have been a very few number of non-religious spaces that have done that for me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes maybe a museum will do that for me. I can think of there's a place in in the Met on the Egyptian wing where it has that big wall of glass windows. That kind of, it gives me that same sort of feeling.
I went to a museum in Berlin, the Jewish Museum in Berlin, that was, we're just bragging about places we've been at this point. That's fine. I'm totally okay with that being what the show's about right now. But the Jewish Museum in Berlin has these what they call voids that were, it was designed by an architect named Daniel Liebeskind, and and these voids are, one of them, they're just designed as spaces for contemplation. They don't serve any function beyond that. There's no museum pieces in these spaces.
Yeah.
One of them, I remember, you walk into it, a huge door. Just an enormous door. In a nondescript hallway, it ends in this enormous door. And you open this door and you walk in and you can't see anything.
Wow.
And the door closes behind you and you're trying to figure out are there other people in here with me? You can hear some shuffling. So yes, there are.
Do you have a sense of the scale of the space?
Not yet. There's a window way, way up at the very top, and you can see that it's very tall. It's a very high room. And then as your eyes acclimatize to the darkness, you start to see that you're in a giant concrete triangular room that is super tall. The room itself, the dimensions of the room, like widthwise and lengthwise, not huge, but it's very tall.
Yeah.
And you feel very small.
Yeah, and that triangular shape would also accentuate that smallness.
It feels a little disorienting. We're used to rooms that are rectangular, and so it just puts you in a different space. It feels at the same time, it feels like very prison-y and very cathedral-y.
Interesting.
And I think that that's a really interesting. Like the psychological effect was profound.
Yeah.
For me. And then, you can contrast that with what the Mormons do, which is what I grew up with, what you converted to.
Yeah.
Which is their worship spaces, their weekly worship spaces are...
They're like as bland as you can get, basically.
They are it's like if you went to an architecture firm and said, I need a space, that can hold this many people, that has this many sort of breakout classroom spaces. And basically, I want your entire inspiration to be the word beige.
Or they're like, imagine those divider walls in offices. We want to elicit that feeling.
Right.
Those carpeted walls.
We want it's cubicle chic.
Yes,
is what we're going for.
Exactly.
Don't make a cubicle, but make us feel as depressed as if we were in a cubicle.
It does have that feeling to me. A Mormon church is a cubicle. That's what it feels like to me.
It does feel like, it feels corporate.
Yeah, very corporate. Maybe they bought it at Walmart.
It might, It's that's sad. And then their highest order buildings are their temples,
which are beautiful. Some are quite lovely from the outside.
The Salt Lake Temple from the outside has a grandeur to it that I would equate to an old Gothic. It's not as ornate as an old Gothic cathedral.
But you imagine that you'd step inside and there'd be those ceilings that would give you that sense of awe.
It's got that height. It's got that size. It's this huge stone structure.
It's the Disney castle.
You assume, yeah. As a matter of fact, a cousin brought her kid to Salt Lake from Canada, and he looked up at it and he kept saying, "Can we go back and see the castle? Can we go back?"
I mean, didn't they design it after that, or am I making that up? Oh, maybe I made that up.
No. It seems right, but
they feel very Disney often. Anyway,
but the fact is that when you go inside them, all of the rooms are small.
Oh, the rooms, you guys, I've been inside, and it is what you imagine on the outside, you close your eyes, it's the exact opposite of that. It's the exact opposite of that.
Just stupid. It's so stupid. And the design of the interior rooms, because as you go a process through through
different handshakes, through the different rooms,
through the ceremonies and whatever, you do move from room to room to room. And they just are stupid.
But you guys, they are so proud of it. I remember when I went through with my mother-in-law, and the final place that you end up, you go through this sheet. You get pulled through a sheet into the celestial room. And I remember, and it's really quiet in there, and I remember walking into that room and I was like, oh my God, I'm in my grandmother's living room. It looked exactly like my grandma's living room, which
a doily would not be out of place.
No. I mean, really imagine like an 80-year-old woman who was from the South and always wanted to be a little fancy. And there's white couches everywhere and with gold accents, and there's chandeliers hanging from the ceiling.
It's it's white and gold as far as you can see.
White and gold, and the most plush carpet where you're you can kind of wobble on it because you can't really get good footing because it's too soft. It's a
70s shag.
Well, it's not shag, but it's they have a lot of padding under there. Probably for if old people fall. Or something.
They have a lot of old people.
Yeah. And I remember my mother-in-law was like, was that the most beautiful room you'd ever seen? And I was like, it was the opposite. It made me, I was like, it was so kitsch feeling.
It's basically like if you imagine not a 5-star, a 4-star hotel from the 70s.
Yeah, and it's their ballroom.
It's their ballroom. It's as good as that can do. Mm-hmm. And that's the best that Mormonism has to offer.
Yeah, if there was a buffet, there'd be lots of shrimp.
Why isn't there a temple buffet?
It felt, you know what? That's what that room felt like it needed.
A buffet.
A buffet on the far end.
Yeah. But there'd be no bar. It'd be terrible. But boy, Mormons would know how to load up a plate.
And they'd visit more often. I feel like actually we should make the suggestion to them that they change it. Okay. Now, who do we write in?
No, we're not going to do that because they won't listen to us. They don't.
It's Chuckarama.
It is. All right. So what I wanted to discuss is a conversation that you and I had.
Yes.
Which is about the fact, the very galling fact in my mind.
Yeah.
That almost all of the spaces that I revere as having been evocatively, like emotionally inspiring spaces that are there for the purpose of reflection. You know, I think of like the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, which is just astounding.
Yeah.
It fucking pisses me off that the churches control these spaces.
Yeah. It's upsetting to me too, because I am also moved in those spaces, and I do feel like they're beautiful spaces where you feel like you are in a space that makes you contemplate in a way that you don't normally.
Right.
And I mean, yes, maybe you can get that same sort of feeling in nature, and it might be why people equate nature often to like having a spirituality to it, because I think it can give you that same reflectiveness.
That sense of awe, that sense of wonder.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But I also want a building where I can go sit and reflect and not have it contaminated with this weird knowledge that their religion is hanging over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With dogma everywhere and you know, patriarchy just sort of lurking in every corner and also just stupid beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, you walk around a corner and there's a painting of a guy who's all bloodied up and he's got 10,000 arrows in him. And you're just like, ew.
And all the imagery is, if there is imagery, is religious, is based in religion.
Yeah.
And I know you and I have for years talked about, like, you know, if we were multimillionaires, it would be so fun to build a place, you know, out in the desert that was like a chapel, for lack of a better word, that, you know, a cathedral-like space where it would be secular.
Well, I'm realizing that I've had that experience.
Oh, well, where have you had it?
At Burning Man.
Oh.
Interestingly, every year that they do Burning Man, they haven't done it for a couple of years because it's been COVID, they build a really impressive structure, huge, that they call the temple.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. And then at the end of the week, they fucking burn it down, so you don't get to do it.
But I want that just. Burning Man feels there's too much going on there.
Yeah, and you're in very strong danger of getting didgeridooed.
Yes.
In the
yes.
in the temple at Burning Man, there's a high probability of a very strong didgeridooing.
Don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. I was didgeridoo with the whole thing. But it speaks to people. It was really important to a lot of people, and a lot of people at Burning Man have very profound experiences
in that space,
in the temple. And and it's cool. You know, it's actually a cool, like, you can go and you can write on the walls and you can pin up a picture of a loved one that you've lost.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the burning of it becomes a ceremony that's very important to a lot of a lot of burners.
Well, I would love, and I want to make this proposal for people who have a lot of money or connected to like city leaders. Wouldn't it be cool if each state had a secular, what am I going to call this?
Place of reflection?
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. And each one was different. So you could be like, I'm going to visit the Massachusetts Center of Reflection.
Yeah.
And they could like hire wonderful architects, and it could be city funded or state funded. But it had nothing to do with religion. And it was just a gorgeous space. And cities could be proud of these buildings.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that would be such a cool thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Why
you and I went to Seattle recently.
Yeah.
And we went into the Space Needle.
That was fun.
And it has no purpose.
No.
It's just a big, cool, tall thing.
Well, the purpose was the World's Fair.
Right. It had a purpose for 1 year.
But now the purpose is for people to go up and get to be odd.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Every city should have one of those.
I agree completely. And they could be creative and different in their own ways. But the point of it would be a place that you could go that creates that feeling of wonder.
Inspiration and wonder and joy and maybe a reflection.
Yeah.
And go and grieve there if you need to grieve or whatever. Like this is a function that we have not, as a secular community, figured out.
And
yet.
It feels quite necessary. And they're very lucky that religions offer people those spaces. But everybody needs to be. And I feel like that's kind of like a crucial thing that everybody needs.
I don't know if it's crucial. A lot of people live without it, but what a wonderful boon it would be to have.
Yeah.
So if you are a billionaire listening to this, write into us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com. We'll work with you. We've got apparently a lot of architects.
We do.
Who know the ropes here. But yeah, wouldn't it be great?
Oh, it would
somebody
be really
spearhead
cool.
this. Somebody who's a spearheader.
It would, and also I feel like as a city or state, it then becomes a tourist attraction.
100%.
You know, it's a smart idea.
It is a smart idea. It's a big deal. So yeah, write into us if you like this idea or if you have other ideas that you think are great. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com. You can also leave us a voicemail. Get your voice on the show. We'd love to have you.
I want to hear you.
424-666-8442 is the number to call. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click the like button. We also have the TGIA members only lounges.
I love that space. There's some really great people and fun discussions on there.
Yeah. We have one on Facebook. We have one on Discord. If I could ever figure out how to get onto Discord, I'd probably be on that one, but I'm on the one on Facebook all the time. So,
me too.
To find those, the easiest thing to do is go to thankgodimatheist.com/members only, and that'll give you links to those.
Perfect.
Speaking of thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music. Thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music. Thanks to you, Kate, for subbing for us at the last minute.
I was happy to do it.
You came in like a champion. You came in, you rode in on a white stallion.
Can it be a black stallion?
Say it. Say that you.
I rode on the black stallion when I was a little kid, but no, I really.
The actual one from the movie in the 80s. Okay,
I was lucky.
There you go. Anyway, thanks to all of you for tuning in. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
Bye.